Disclaimer, I own no ownership of Scary Movie. Of course, that's not gonna matter in Paramount's eyes, so unfortunately I had to heavily alter the footage of Scary Movie throughout the video. I apologize, but to make sure the video is actually fucking seen and not blocked, I had to do this. That's just the price you pay for making film reviews, I guess. But unfortunately, also I have to mention this, I know Dead Meat has now officially made a kill count of Scary Movie. Yes, a real Scary Movie kill count, despite the fact this video is made to be a kill count of Scary Movie. Okay, look, I thought they were never going to do this, thanks to what James A. Janisse said in the Scream 4 kill count recount.
I know a lot of people have asked for a Scary Movie kill count. I don't think that would really work because of how comedic it is.
This video was not made to rip them off, instead being a loving homage to the kill counts because I thought they were never going to make a kill count of this film. That's why I made this video. If they made one sooner, I wouldn't have made this video. So the final numbers or even some of the commentary on the production of the film are similar. That's just the price I pay for not uploading this video on Halloween of 2025, I guess. Anyways, despite that, I hope you enjoyed the video regardless. And hey, my editing and commentary style is much different to Dead Meat's, so you might still find some enjoyment in this video. Or laugh at my incompetence, I don't know.
Welcome to the Slaughter Mark, where we tally up the slash, dashes, gashes, and asses in all your favorite, least favorite, and despised horror films. I'm Isaac Thomas Cook, and today we're going to be looking at what some people think is my favorite horror film of all time. That's because it is. Today we're going to be taking a look at Scream. Scream is not only a goat of a movie, but also revolutionized horror in general. We're at a time horror movie franchises that were once serious started slowly devolving into parodies of themselves. Scream did a good job poking at the cliches and tropes, but also was able to embrace them, not only making a really well-rounded movie, but also revolutionary. What the fuck is this piece of shit? This isn't Scream! This is some, like, weird YouTube parody I found at the Goodwill, right? Like, what is this? Here, hold on, I know what I can do. Take a slider and just, like... Oh, you magnificent bastard! Me? Okay, fine, I got you with the bait and switch. Because today we are instead looking at Scary Movie, which came out in 2000 and was directed by Kevin Iron Wayans, one of the three Wayans brothers. Wayans brothers were known at the time for making comedic films. As a matter of fact, the two other Wayans brothers, Sean and Marlon, actually star in this movie. Now, originally, the script was made by Jason Fjellberg and Aaron Sletzer. You might know them for making those awful films like Disaster Movie and Epic Movie. However, for Scary Movie, not only were the Wayans brothers, here, but also two other people, Buddy Johnson and Phil Buman. Sounds like names you would find in a Scream movie. While the film parodies a lot of things, the main two things it parodies is Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, if you notice, I'm something of a Scream connoisseur. I mean, I'm wearing the costume, I got fucking 3 pieces of merch right here, but I find it very ironic that they would parody Scream out of all movies, because essentially Scream is a satire of horror already. But unlike Scream, where yes, it did make fun of the tropes, however still embraced them and is still a horror film, Scary Movie is strictly a comedy parody. Oh yes, not all the jokes land in this film, however, I still find this film really enjoyable to watch, even though it's ironic considering the fact when I did watch Scary Movie for the first time, I have never seen Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer. Hell, to this day, while I have watched all 6 Scream movies, I never seen I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I don't feel like doing it. However, unlike the other films I mentioned that try to capture Scary Movie's vibes, Scary Movie was able to do the parody right, but also stand on its own and be its own unique thing that can make you laugh. Now, yes, there are some scenes that directly parody the films at hand, but then again, you don't need to see the films in order to get the joke. You can still laugh at it because it's a decently well-written joke. However, despite all that, does that mean Scary Movie was able to get more or less kills than its older brother? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's getting to the fucking... The film opens with a very similar set piece to the original Scream, though unlike the much more slow burn, we rapid fire through this opening, not even getting the film trivia bit with the victim or even gutting their boyfriend. Speaking of which, the victim this time around is named Drew Becker. You'll also notice right away that a lot of the character names in this movie basically just take the pre-existing character's name, or hell, even the actor who played that character. Like, for example, here with Drew Becker, she's Drew Barrymore's name and Casey Becker's name combined together. And if you know, Drew Barrymore played Casey Becker in the original Scream. Also see this example with Sidney Kimball, the final girl of this movie, who takes the name of Nevi Campbell and Sidney Prescott and combines it, though Sidney is spelled differently. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, aren't we? We're not even done with the opening. Rewinding the clock, who truly plays Drew Becker? Well, originally the role was supposed to go to Britney Spears, but that was dropped. Jenny McCarthy, who turned it out to be in Scream 3, ironically enough, and Melissa Joan Hart, who actually got fired when she was going to go on the plane to the set, which kinda sucks. Carmen Electra was picked instead, having been in other roles like Baywatch, and even comedy films like her first role as Roxanne in Good Burger! Oh, hell yeah! Good Burger sweep! It's a Scream, baby! Fucking W movie right there! According to Carmen, though, she had a lot of fun working on this film, being able to goof off, which seems like the mentality for the other actors, too, in this B-roll behind-the-scenes footage. It shows them having a lot of fun. No drug use in this film's production, that's for sure. Looking at you, Friday the 13th, for giving kids drugs and showing them boobies early on, and killing live snakes on screen, you fucks! But anyways, the version of Ghostface in this film, simply titled The Killer, tries to threaten Drew by saying he's gonna kill her boyfriend, the black man who dresses as a woman, which I guess is a nod to Electra's real-life boyfriend, Dennis Rodman? Okay. But instead in this film, we get a cameo from Prince? Wait, what? And unlike Casey's boyfriend in the first Scream, this time around, Prince actually gets spared from a gutting session, so no kill is counted here just yet. Bruce thinks the killer is at her front door, so then she starts whacking kids with a baseball bat. Again, no marks here. I mean, the film does a lot of things, but child murder is not one of them. But then the killer finally reveals himself in the iconic chase between Drew and this movie's version of Ghostface, who, according to IMDb, was played by a stuntman called Andrew Killiott, who goes uncredited in the film. Another thing that goes uncredited, and unfortunately I couldn't find anything, is the guy who did Ghostface's voice in this movie, because you could tell right away it is not Roger L. Jackson doing it. Not only is it not credited, but also on Jackson's filmography, this version of Ghostface is nowhere to be seen in his acting roles. Besides, you can obviously tell it's not him because the voice definitely goes for a lot more of a vocal fry instead of the deep, gravelly voice that Jackson does.
Now, if you hang up on me, you'll die just like your mother. Do you want to die, Sydney? Hey, no biggie, turn around. Now do you know where I am? Oh, I gotta stop drinking.
But who cares about the voice? What about the chase? Well, it's basically the same as the original Scream, except more dads are thrown in, like Drew stopping at this fork of the road and going to the death sign, her falling on this chalk outline, and even a deleted scene that can be found in the YouTube version of this film, where she's running on a treadmill, and then Ghostface joins in on it, one of the few times he's actually being clumsy in this movie. Also, you can tell Ghostface is way more keen in just jogging and stalking his victim and actually running at them, more akin to something like Michael Myers, which I guess makes sense. I mean, look at this fucking skirt. You really think someone can run in this? Well, yeah, he can, but it's fucking tripping everywhere. However, to be honest, this chase sequence is pretty good. My favorite part is when Ghostface tries to grab Drew and he just fucking rips her clothes off and he just stands there like,
Wait, how the fuck?
and then Drew runs through the sprinklers. Oh, come on, man, I'm trying to laugh, not get horny. Now, Ghostface actually does stab her here. However, unlike its lethal counterpart, he just accidentally removed a prosthetic boob. Okay, I love his reaction, how he's just visibly grossed out by it. Now, I think this chase sequence perfectly describes Ghosty as a character here, where, while he still is very comedic, he can still be a threat when he wants to be. Would it be bad if I said that this version of the character is probably my favorite Ghostface? Alright, enough doodle-daddling. Drew gets ran over by a car thanks to her dad having a sucky. God, I really wonder how they did this effect. I mean, sure, they probably just used a dummy, but it's really funny looking and also impressive. Honestly, though, finding, like, information about Scary Movie was really hard because, like, there was only one behind-the-scenes footage video, like, about it, and it didn't really show, like, the production of the film. And also, there is the IMDb page, but, yet again, it doesn't really go that much into the production. Oh, yeah, that kind of sucks, but then again, maybe that means I'll be able to speed through this film faster. Highly fucking doubt it, but you could dream. Anyways, as Drew falls to the ground, the killer finally gets their sitting duck as we slash our way into the title card. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the film was actually under 2 working titles? Scream, if you know what I did last Halloween, and last summer I Screamed because Halloween fell on Friday the 13th. Yeah, I'm glad they changed it to just Scary Movie, which apparently, fun fact, was actually the original intended name for Scream. So, to be honest, it's kind of a funny, full circle there. So we open up for real with our semi-final girl, Sydney Campbell, who plays a sort of combination of characters, which is common for this film to do. She parodies both Sydney Prescott from Scream, oh go figure, and Julie James from I Know What You Did Last Summer. And Sydney in this scene gets jump scared by our movie's version of Billy Loomis and Ray Bronson, Bobby Prince, who, similar to his Loomis counterpart, tries to concord Sydney into fucking. This time around, her dad barges in during Bobby's intro, telling Sydney he's going away like in the original film. However, the reason why he's going is completely different. Unlike Neil Prescott in the original, this version actually has a unique characteristic. He's a cocaine peddler.
Well, it could have been that crack I smoked earlier. You know that new business that I started with those Colombian guys?
Oh, you mean Uncle Escobar?
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's a problem. Some money went missing, and apparently some legs are going to get broken.
Which makes you realize that Neil Prescott as a character actually does jack shit in the Scream franchise. Like, he appears in the first Scream for a little bit, then he appears in Scream 3 to talk to Sydney for a little bit, and then he dies off screen. Like, at least this version got the uniqueness of being, you know, a cocaine peddler. It's like Walter White before Walter White. Okay, it has nothing to do with Walter White, I just wanted to reference him. Anyways, after Sydney's dad F's off for the movie until the climax, Bobby tries to get into Sydney's pants, who, unlike Billy, is actually more successful. However, unlike Billy, he gets fucking shocked because Sydney had an electric fence around her crotch. Okay, that is honestly a really funny visual gag. However, in contrast, we get a gag that honestly makes no fucking sense. For some reason, there's a cameo from James Van D. Beek. Why is it James Van Der Beek? What the fuck kind of name is that? James Van Der Beek? That name sounds like a Friday Night Funkin' character singing James Van Der Beek. Apparently it comes from the show Dawson Creek, which I never seen it before, go figure. So I'm just standing here wondering who the fuck is this guy? Now, in contrast from that, we get an actually pretty funny visual gag that never gets brought up. So, if you look closely in the background, you'll see that Sydney's window is always open. However, there's a sign on the top right that says always open, like a fucking store light. That's honestly really funny. Yeah, most of the humor in this film can be hit or miss. In my opinion, the sexual humor can be very miss. However, the visual gags they do are very much hits, because there's a lot that are really funny. There are way more visual gags in this movie that are really funny, but obviously I don't want to spoil them right now, so you just gotta keep watching. You just gotta keep watching. Just gotta keep watching. Then again, though, there are some jokes in this movie that can make you laugh and make you uncomfortable at the same time. But however, we finally transition to our high school, B.A. Corpse High School. That's funny. To be honest, it kind of sucks it's not the same high school from the first Scream, but instead it's 1260 Grant Street in Victoria, British Columbia. Wait, the filming location was made by the Brits? However, since, you know, a teenager died, there's a lot of news reports happening at the school. We also get properly introduced to our version of Dale Weathers, being Dale Hailstorm, played by Cherry O'Terry, who was mainly in SNL at the time of filming, but her first film role was actually in Liar Liar, featuring my goat, Jim Carrey. You might remember Jim Carrey for being part of that Once Bitten review I made a while back, where I was fucking dying while filming it. Now, this version of Gail is actually quite similar to the original, but instead, take out her semi-rivalry with Sydney, where she's trying to prove Cotton Weary, the person who was accused of killing Sydney's mom, innocent. Also take out her likable traits, and instead amp up her negative traits a ton. Which, to be honest, yes, would be bad, but since this is a parody comedy, it leads to a really funny character. I think this shines the most in her introduction, where there's a news heckler in the background while she's reporting on the death. You see, the regular Gale would probably just make a roast towards them and tell them to fuck off. Here, however, she promptly shoots them, which results in our second kill. Well, we just got hit with some dark comedy. Well, here's some more with by far a runner-up for the best joke in the entire film.
Live for Black TV. White folks are dead. We're getting the fuck out of here. Let's roll, damn it.
Jesus, I need to get this script moving. But before I do, I think there's something important I need to talk about. Okay, so what am I qualifying as a kill in this movie? Since Scary Movie is mainly a comedy first, horror like third, the second being a porno, the rules of death in this film flip-flop a lot, especially when we get to the sequels. Because spoilers, some characters who die in this film come back later. So basically, here's my criteria. If it looks lethal, like getting shot in a vital part, or stabbed a billion times, or if the character doesn't come back after, I'm gonna qualify it as a death. It doesn't matter if you die 15 times, you're just adding more marks to the tally, which is good for me. Maybe. So we get introduced to our ensemble of meat bags to be punctured. Brenda and Shorty Meeks, played by Regina Hall, who was originally going to be played by Aaliyah, but turned it down, and of the Wayne brothers, Marlon Wayne. This film actually would be the catalyst for Regina Hall, because before this, they haven't really done anything before, or after, outside appearing in the sequels, apparently, which you'll find out makes no sense, but whatever, moving on. Supposedly Brenda is a spoof on Carla Wilson's character from last summer, which I don't know if they do the parody justice, but I do know what Shorty's supposed to be parodying, that being Jamie Kennedy's character, Randy Meeks, which in my opinion, they do not do justice at all. Outside of having the last name of Meek, both these characters don't really act the same, like, at all. Randy is a dorky horror movie buff who believes the killings are based around the logic of a horror film. Meanwhile, Shorty is just really hammy and stoned all the time. That's his main character trait. He is a stoner. Now, the similarities were supposed to be more on point, because originally, much later in the film, Shorty was supposed to give his own version of Randy's How to Survive a Horror Movie monologue, but that was eventually gutted, so the similarities unfortunately fall flat. Now, to be honest though, let me just say, I'm not saying I don't like Shorty because he's not like Randy. I actually really like Shorty. I think Shorty's a really funny character, though the parody just doesn't work. But, while unintentional, I think Shorty does a good job parodying Matthew Lillard's character, Stu Macher. I mean, think about it. Both are really hammy and very energetic. You know, it's a scream, baby! Just replace Macher's obsession with killing with a lot of weed. A lot of weed. Ironically enough, I think Stu Macher's parody is also not done well, but we'll get there, okay? We also get introduced to the last of the girlfriend trio, Buffy Gilmore, who is both a spoof on Tatum Riley and Helen Shivers, which, speaking of Helen, the reason why Buffy is called that in this film is because Helen's actor, Sarah Giller, actually plays Buffy in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Which, here's a plot twist for you. Did you know that apparently she also plays Daphne in the two live-action Scooby-Doo movies, which is really funny because, you know, Matthew Lillard. You get some pretty funny gags here, like Sidney talking about animals being tested on for lipstick, and it just shows a gorilla smearing that shit on his face, and this homeless bit.
Can't you see he's just hungry? Here you go, sir. A nice sandwich.
I said $1, bitch.
And by far runner-up for the most famous scene in this whole movie, that being Shorty going, "Run, bitch! Run!" Delivered flawlessly. We also get introduced to our last two main characters, finally. Greg Phillip, who parodies only one character from one film, being Barry Cox from last summer, and the other Wayne brother, Sean, who plays Ray Wilkins, supposedly a parody on Stu Macher, which doesn't really show up until the end. Like, okay, if you're gonna make a parody on Stu Macher, why make it nothing but gay jokes? Oh wait, I actually understand that. Yeah, Ray's character trait is that he's gay. That's kind of the whole thing. Which, yes, probably didn't age that well. However, I can't deny the fact that some of the jokes are actually pretty funny.
Hey, yo, dog. Does this shirt make me look gay?
Nah, man.
What about now?
Oh, I love when you play with my ass.
I'm not playing with your ass.
Ray! Oh, my bad. I'll grab his other arm.
I'll grab his ass.
And just like Ray, Greg gets an establishing character moment.
My report card.
And okay, yes, I don't want to be doing nothing but regurgitating jokes, because then what's the point of watching this? But the joke of Bobby being late for school, despite the fact he's in an RV that's right next to the school, it's really funny, okay? It's my new headcanon that Billy does live in an RV, okay? Don't blame me, blame Scary Movie. Eventually, though, the gang gathers around a fountain, like, but they talk about Drew dying, and how Ray remembers her because of the long hair, big lips, and tight ass. Oh, not her, her brother. And Sidney mentions how it seems like a coincidence that this incident happened 1 year after a certain other incident from last Halloween, I think. But this backstory scene does hit you back to back with jokes, though, especially with George, like how he got a beehive stuck to his head, and especially this joke.
Oh my god, we hit a boat!
Where's the foot?
I like that there's also a subversion where the dude isn't actually dead at first. It seems pretty chill with them running him over, but unfortunately he gets a bottle to the head and thrown to the lake, never to be seen again. We later learn though that his name was David Keegan, so he has that going for him. This dock scene was actually also filmed in British Columbia, being on the Gulf of the Georgia Cannery at 12138, and I like how it goes the extra mile with the chorality, because Sidney was thinking about taking his wallet, so they'll know who he is, I assume, but everyone spins that around to just taking his shit, Britta even stating we already killed him, so let's steal his stuff. This is an Always Sunny bit, I love it. We also see George not taking it lightly that Sidney does not agree to the oath of taking it to their grave.
We take this to our grave. Say it. We take this to our grave.
I do find it funny, but also kind of sweet how Bobby is the only one trying to stop George, yet he does it in the most pathetic way possible. And then immediately he's like, Sydney? Sex? Now, yes, a lot of the traits Bobby has in this movie is just me, Sydney. But it's kind of funny how, well, like, very exaggerated. It is also semi-accurate to how Billy is in the first Scream movie, which is just...
Anyways, we exit out of our flashback, and the gang talk about how that's not possible. What do you think, this is a horror film? And Sydney mentions that, yeah, they'd probably get Jennifer Love Hewitt to play her if that was possible.
Which all of you at home should know that Love Hewitt played Julie James, the second half of the character Sydney is parodying. Coincidence? I think not! Because it ain't no coincidence! Ah!
Greg lampshades about how they're 20 and 30-year-olds playing high schoolers, which, yeah, made me realize, Jesus, these people are old. And we come back to Gail wondering who she has to bone to get some inside scoop on the murder.
Now the moment you've been waiting for. This movie's version of Dewey Riley, who, yes, a lot of people nowadays could seem as highly offensive, but I don't care, because I think he's one of, if not the best parts of this movie. That being Doofy Gilmore.
Slow down. Slow me. Hey.
Doofy is a student police officer like Dewey, but instead of being the goofball rookie who's trying to get respect, who ultimately gets his back stabbed and later becomes a badass, this version of the character is mentally challenged and portrayed as very stupid, even shitting his own pants.
I can kind of understand why some people might find this character to be offensive, because yes, he is making fun of autistic people, but as an autistic man myself, I think Doofy is a very fun character. He has that sort of innocently dumbness that Dewey has, but it's just in different taste. Probably tastes like shit, but hey, I don't care, it's fun.
Doofy is also played by David Sheridan, who's similar to Regina and Anna. This was basically his first starring role in a film, and he went on to star in films even as late as 2024. You go, man. Also, one thing that I actually think is done better than Scream is that we actually get to see Gail and Doofy interact way earlier. Like, let's be honest, it kinda was a little forced in the first film, wasn't it? With Dewey and Gail, right?
And when Gail gets her inside scoop, Ghostface is threatening to scoop Sydney while she's in the classroom, where not only is he wielding a hook like the fisherman killer from last summer, he's also wearing the default Ghostface mask? Wait, what the fuck? This is the only scene in the film where we see Ghostface with the original normal Ghostface mask, because throughout the entire film, outside of a couple occasions, because throughout the entire film, outside of a couple occasions, the Ghostface mask that the killer wears is different. Instead, Ghostface dons a mask that has much bigger eyes and a wider mouth, probably something you could cram 2 liters of soda in. Now, from what little information I could find about this, Fun World, the guys who made the original Ghostface mask, did design masks for Scary Movie. I mean, they had to, right? Because they literally mass-produced Scary Movie versions of Ghostface's mask. So why did they change the mask from the default one to a new one? Was it because they didn't want people to be confused, like, about it because it's a parody? I don't know, because it seems like most people are already confused enough with this version of Ghostface from that. I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point, but yeah, it's really weird.
Besides, how stupid do people have to be to realize this isn't the original Scream film? But the killer tells Sydney via note he knows what they did last Halloween. Oh, her and Bobby having a sweet picnic? No, bitch, the dude they killed! I really love this gag so much. The fact the killer had to write another note correcting her is comedic gold. And also, since I couldn't mention it before, we get by far the darkest joke in the movie.
Here, go to your daddy.
Wait, am I allowed to show this on YouTube? Hey, if the movie gets to make a dark joke, then I get to make a dark joke too.
Oh, yeah. But we cut to a scene where Sydney gets called to the principal's office thanks to Doofy, who shits his pants.
It's actually interesting to think that this was actually Dewey's introduction in Scream, which the scenes were rearranged around, which I actually think is done a lot better, because then we get to see Doofy by himself for a little bit before interacting with Sydney.
What the fuck was— Buzz Sydney gets interrogated by the sheriff, played by Kirk Fuller, and a really odd casting choice, Principal Squiggy, played by David L. Lander, who pays homage to another character David played, Andrew Squigman from Lavery and Shirley.
What the fuck? What the fuck is this show? Yes, I had to look it up on IMDb, fight me. I think these weird cameos had to be from the original script made by Zoidberg and fucking Aaron Leon Schlesinger or whatever, because like these feel so out of left field from like the traditional humor we're seeing from the Wayans brothers in this film. Or maybe it was the other two writers who had the scream-sounding names, like fucking Danny Johnson. The sheriff talks to Sydney about Drew, aka how they go down. Honestly, yeah, not the funniest scene, but Sydney's reactions do make up for it. We didn't get to see Greg get his ass beat by a punching bag, and then him also getting a note from the killer, that being he has a baby dick. Like this small, which I obviously can't show because, you know, YouTube, but just buy the DVD yourself, then you can find it! We also get a subtle lore drop on Doofy from Buffy, stating that Doofy had a crush on Drew. Where have I heard that before? Ah, who cares? So Greg shows the baby dick photo, and the gang promptly shows sympathy and compassion. Nah, they laugh in his face, which, like, what did bro expect? Sydney tells everyone that she also got a note, and they had to tell the cops what happened. However, Greg gently disagrees with her.
You call the police, and I'll kill you myself. But I'm not going to jail. You got that?
Okay, bro did not have to do that. But anyways, we suddenly smash cut to a beauty pageant that Buffy's in, which, yes, I know this is, I guess, a parody of a scene from last summer, and I know this does set up a pretty big moment. It just comes out of, like, nowhere. There was no build-up to this at all. Like how that kid was shot out of that mom's womb in that Xbox commercial. Jesus Christ. While Sydney and Bobby leave Greg on the balcony, Buffy's about to give an acting speech. I don't know how beauty shows work, but BAM! Ghostface appears behind Greg, and while Buffy tries to warn everyone what's going on, everyone else assumes this is her acting. In the process, Greg dies. And honestly, the most normal Ghostface death in this movie is just stab, slit the throat. That's literally what he does. R.I.P. Greg. You were a real piece of shit, but a really funny one. As Buffy tries to leave, she finds out that she won the contest. But what about Greg?
Oh, fuck Greg, I won!
Okay, fair. Remaining trio try to investigate, but the killer seems to also be not only kill savvy, but clean savvy, as we get this really funny visual gag of him cleaning. We even see Greg's leg poking out of the bag. It's great. Say it once and I'll say it again. I think the film really succeeds well in its visual gags when they aren't trying to strictly be sexual related. Like, this feels like a real-life Looney Tunes short. It's amazing. Better than certain other shorts that try to be like Looney Tunes. Blazing Saddles. Yeah, I said it. I hate Blazing Saddles. That film was overrated as fuck. Same also goes for Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Yeah, that's right. I'm coming for the asses now. So Sydney finally gets him a low time. However, Bobby yet again keeps trying to come inside the house. Like, can't you tell Sydney is shaving her tongue? Let her be. However, I don't like the implications of that. However, Ghostface calls her, stating the obvious, and Sydney gets another call with a little fourth wall bumping. What we get is another iconic scene of the killer threatening Sydney in the house. However, he unfortunately didn't pick the best hiding spot. Now, here's another interesting fact. Did you know that there was actually a deleted scene in this film where this scene was extended more? But there was going to be a bit where some classmate interrupted the call between Sydney and the killer. However, in my honest opinion, I'm glad that was gutted, because it wasn't really all that funny. I think it makes the build-up a lot more snappier, and also leads to the punchline being a lot better, where once Sydney reveals Ghostface, he wants her to turn her back around so then he can hide again.
Turn around. Close your eyes. No peeking.
I love how he tries to go under the carpet, but picks the curtain only for his main weapon to be seen, which is yet again the hook for some reason. To be honest, I think in this film, Ghostface uses the hook way more often than the Buck 120 knife, which is pretty unique, gives off a much more wacky weapon, and makes him stand out more from the other Ghostface killers. Thanks, Fisherman. Sydney and Ghostface start a chase, with Ghostface tripping up, and basically summing up every Ghostface in a nutshell.
Oh, I gotta stop drinking.
It's kind of weird how a lot of people describe Ghostface as a clumsy killer, but in actuality, he's not really that clumsy. Most of the time, his clumsiness comes from the victims, like, throwing shit at him. However, the times where he does genuinely just be clumsy and trips over something is really funny, so who cares? So Sydney and Ghostface go up the stairs, similar to the OG Scream. However, unlike that one, Ghostface gets pushed through the ringer, with him getting a vase smashed on his head but still trucking, a bicycle, which is shockingly not out of the norm for Ghosty, grandma out of nowhere, and finally a piano, Tom and Jerry style. I really love the dumbass run Ghostface does here. Like, why does he do that? I really want to know how they filmed this, because there's no way they just let a piano roll down the stairs as Ghostface runs away from it. However, what I do know is that poor grandma dies. R.I.P. At least she's riding the golden escalator up to heaven. But for real, this is one of the funniest moments in the film, and I think where the true comedy shines, because it took what made a Scream chase so good, and just made it more slapstick-like, kind of like the opening now I think about it. Actually, guess what? Originally, while Sydney was running up the stairs, she would have tried to hide in the closet, but apparently Jamie Lee Curtis, who played, the one bitch from Halloween at 1, I forgot the name, it goes to show my movie trivia, she would have been hiding in the closet instead, which, honestly, I really wish they kept that joke in. I'm assuming it was like scheduling conflicts or something, but damn, that actually would have been kind of funny. Eventually, Sydney pulls the same trick that the real Sydney did, which was actually foreshadowed in an earlier scene, which is shockingly clever. Like, you wouldn't expect Scary Movie out of all films to have good foreshadowing, but they do it, and they do it really good. But eventually, Sydney calls the cops, stating, oh yeah, well that would get cops over quickly. Bobby pops in and basically plays the scene out with Sydney suspecting Billy of being the killer. Just a little more obvious. Oh, come on, Sydney, put 2 and 2 together. Ghostface had a hook, not a knife. Eventually, Doofy pops in, doing the same gesture Dewey did, which really makes me wonder why Dewey held the mask out like that in the first place. Are you stupid? And then giving Sydney a ride in his little mobile. Honestly, wish they kept the scene. It's really funny. Outside of Gil being racist, that's a bit of a turnoff. Anyway, so Sydney is told by the sheriff to look at a few photos, and, am I not allowed to show this on YouTube because it's either too much nudity or it's butt ugly? So props for Kirk for going through this bit since it's played super straight, like my sexuality. Hey, if this movie can throw in sex jokes, I can make a lame one every now and then. Eventually, Doofy pulls a funny little prank on the officers.
Hey, Terry, smell my finger.
Oh, what the hell is that?
My ass.
And Buffy and Doofy escort them out of the station, with Buffy dropping more Doofy lore.
Mom says when I wear this badge, you're supposed to treat me like a man of the law.
Yeah, well, Mom also said for you to stop sticking your dick in the vacuum cleaner.
Hey, man, you gotta get your thing up somehow, but to be honest, that just sounds like that hurts. Eventually, Yale comes back in with the most calmest reaction she gives to her cameraman.
For you, Chopzilla, listen up, okay? This little piggy went to the market, all right? This little piggy stayed home. Now, this little piggy doesn't roll the goddamn camera. I'm gonna put my foot up his butt.
Well, I mean, to be honest, this is probably something the actual Gail would also say. I mean, have you heard the way she talks to people?
Kenny?
Yeah?
I know that you're about 50 pounds overweight, but when I say hurry, please interpret that as move your fat tub of lard ass.
Eventually, Gail tries to interview Sydney. However, unlike the original, where it's about Sydney talking to Gail about how she wrote a book proving Cotton's innocence, which results in her punching Gail, it's this time around...
Come on, Cindy, your ass looks fat!
Okay, says you, bro. If you know anything about this movie, we get to the next scene, which, to be honest, is a really unnecessary scene, which borderlines on a really long Family Guy cutaway gag, but it's by far the most funniest and most iconic moment in the entire movie, and I could not imagine this movie without this scene. Ghostface calls up Shorty to scare him. However, that dissolves into Shorty's friends and Ghostface all going, Liza! Liza! Now, apparently, this scene is actually completely ripping off an old Buzzwire commercial with the same premise. However, I don't care, because this is hilarious. I think this joke of someone interrupting Ghostface's call is done so much better, with the exaggeration done with all of them, and even Ghostface's mask changing into this fucking thing, which, honestly, it's kind of shocking to think that this mask is so iconic, just as iconic as the normal one, despite the fact this one appears on screen for like 2 seconds max. Don't you ever underestimate the power of Liza! Eventually, Sydney goes to Buffy's house.
Got your ice pack for your hand.
Revealing to us that Buffy actually told Doofy about the dude they killed last Halloween. I'm sure that won't go bite them in the ass. However, Sydney gets a call yet again with Ghostface, revealing that nope, it wasn't Bobby. Doofy gets called in and he comes in with a vacuum. Oh, god damn it, man, come on! You're better than this, Doofy, you're better! Besides, it like really hurt when I did that thing, okay? Oh, God. Eventually, the gang are back in the cafeteria with another deleted scene, showing the lunch ladies as being aliens? Okay, what the fuck? Honestly, I'm glad the scene was deleted because, yes, while this movie does have surreal humor, I think this one was just pushing it a little too much because outside of a few things, this film is honestly pretty grounded in reality. Again, I said outside of a few things. Also, they were just kind of pace breakers, like this segment coming up. Shorty talks about how all this feels similar to the movie Scream. And I'm going to be honest, they do it again later where they just name drop Scream in Last Summer, and I don't really like that. I'm not a huge fan of them just being like, oh man, this is kind of like that movie Scream, or you remember I Know What You Did Last Summer did this too? And it's like, come on, that completely sucks out like the immersion, I feel like. Like, if they were gonna do something like that, I feel like it would have been a little cuter if they were like, it was kind of like those Stab movies a while back. Because if you know anything about the Scream lore, the Stab movies are the in-universe version of the Scream movies. Which, that would have been kind of cute, but... oh, well, I guess, I mean, if they couldn't do that, then I would just prefer them not saying it, because this feels like some, like, Ian Flynn-ass writing, which I actually don't really hate Ian Flynn's writing. There are some thoughts of it, but the references is definitely not one of them, okay? Kind of. Anyway, so Sydney instructs Shorty to stick together so they don't get picked off one by one. Shorty then prompts this to be a...
Yo! Party at Sydney's house! Drunk white women for everybody!
Also makes me realize Shorty is as tall as Ray, which, I mean, no fuck, they're brothers in real life, but it still shocks me. Bobby comes back after wrongly being accused, and Sydney and him have an argument. Hey Bobby, I guess you finally did have sex! So you might be wondering, what is the true reason Sydney doesn't want to fuck Bobby? Because in the original, Sydney didn't get down with Billy because she was still trying to recover from the trauma of her mother dying. And Billy was just like, oh, I'll get over it. I wonder why he was like that. Acting like I was still living in 1996. I wasn't even born then. But you know, whatever. This time around, however, it's because Ginger is not a part of the Spice Girls anymore, which... okay, what the fuck? This is like the weirdest decision they could have done because, shockers, I don't know anything about Spice Girls. But like, why didn't they do something like parallel to Sydney's mom dying? Or like, hell, make it where like, plot twist, Ginger is Sydney's mom. I don't know, that would have been kind of cool and would explain some things. Because it just turns into a shitty subversion joke, which, boo-hoo, I guess. But, look on the bright side, because we get more doofy!
Say, the killing tragic, but
And Gail's trying to ask more personal questions to the sheriff. Love the detail of her just throwing one of the reporter's pins to the ground. That's great. We get this.
that is classified information. Where are you getting that?
I'm sorry, but my sources are strictly confidential, Sheriff.
Hey, Gail. Gail swallows.
Cutting back to the plot, Buffy pranks Sydney because she's a bitch, like her boyfriend, and the female coach gets introduced, and...
Alright, knock it off, Buffy.
yeesh! Okay, first doofy, now this. The character is Miss Man, and despite the fact they were actually played by a female bodybuilder, Gina Tricca, her character is a man simply trying to get in the girl's pants. You know what I mean. We didn't get to see, okay, bro, that should be hanging more than Casey Becker! Now you might be wondering why this scene is here. Well, Sydney wanted to try to talk to Miss Man about her Halloween incident, but I don't really care for this scene because the joke is literally just lol hanging balls, which, yeah, isn't really that funny. Like, you can't make jokes on trans people if you want, just make them, you know, actually funny. Like the joke you make about black people in this movie. This film was directed by black people, okay? But luckily, after that miss scene, we get by far the best scene in the movie. I know I say that a lot, but I possibly mean it this time. Possibly. So Buffy is all alone, only for the killer to pop up. You know that one scene in Scream where Tatum is trying to joke with the Ghostface killer before it's revealed like shit is going down for real? Well, basically take that scene, play it much earlier in the movie, and amplify it by 100%. This scene is just amazing. Buffy acting all dramatic with the killer, Ghostface stabbing Buffy only for her to ask if she needs to run with Ghostface just going, I don't fucking know. Her purposely breaking her own leg, which still makes me cringe to this day. Even Ghostface does it too, it's great. And now she keeps going even after her head gets cut off with a cleaver. Probably Ghostface to just throw in her lost and found bin, it's great. I love how this scene perfectly sums up this version of Ghostface too. In my opinion, actually a lot better than the opening scene. Like, in the normal Scream films, Ghostface is the madness to the normal world. However, this time around, he can be the normal to the madness world. Like, he can be threatening or just indulge in the madness and be funny. And I really love that a lot. It perfectly balances these two traits, in my opinion. And it makes a really good killer, even though he literally is just a parody of another dude. Also, I should state this, despite the fact Buffy is still talking in this scene, I'm going to put her on the count anyway, because we don't see her again after this point. So, womp womp. Damn, right at the 50-minute mark? That's great. Then we jump cut to a teacher trying to kill himself. Okay, and the gang talk about how Bobby is not the killer, so what's going on? And Sydney states that the killer is toying with them. And what are they waiting for? Completely parodying that one scene from last summer. Guess what? Apparently that original scene from last summer was actually directed by a 7-year-old, shockingly enough. I mean, hey, never too early to start directing, am I right? However, unlike that original version, the Suicide Jumper hears all of this, which, means...
What am I waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
You!
We also found out earlier that his name was Phil, R.I.P. I'm honestly wondering how they got this effect, because, like, what did they use? A stunt double? A dummy? I think maybe they used padding under the ground and then covered up with fake grass or something, because that's kind of what it looks like, but then again, that's just a theory. Jump cut to, what is all the jump cuts? This is a Mario 64 speedrun? To Brenda and Ray getting dirty, as Ray wants Brenda to dress up in football gear. Get it? It's because Ray is gay. Ray gay. That's a good one. Yeah, the only reason this was added was because these two decided to go to a movie theater later, which sort of parodies another unique tidbit. Originally, this scene was actually supposed to have Brenda and Shorty getting down and having safe sex, as they pull out guns, apparently. This was cut, however, because, you know, they're kind of siblings in the final version, but to be honest, I wish they kept that joke in, because that would have been really funny instead of the Ray is gay, for the 20th time. And now, for something completely different, we come back to Gail, which, like, what is going on here? Are we in that one Family Guy episode where Peter and Lois get trapped in cutaways? Like, what's going on? Gail is in Lover's Lane with Heather, a character who was shown earlier in the film. Wait a minute, Heather, like the musical where she, like, blows up the school? Does she blow up the school? I don't know, I've never seen Heather, I don't care to. Gail found out the killer is actually showing up here. I wonder how she knows about that. That is fucking creepy. And tells Heather that her boyfriend possibly got brutally murdered thanks to the killer. I'm not gonna count this one though, because not only do we never see the body, I also like to think the boyfriend just ran away, because it's shown throughout the film nobody likes Heather.
Right. Just say what we want.
Shut
when
the
you think about it.
And even the killer doesn't like Heather, because he lunges out like Wither Foxy and goes stabby on her. Damn, I didn't think she was that annoying. I mean, I kind of relate to her a little bit. Wait, is that why people think I'm annoying? Gail tries to interview the killer, but Lucy is not having any of that, as he starts chasing them. Then we pretty seamlessly turn into a Blair Witch parody, with Gail running like Heather in the...
Hey, wait a minute.
But anyways, Kenny keeps trying to run, but trips. Now, we don't know if he dies here, but since A, we never see him again, and B, Ghostface was chasing them, I'm just gonna put him on a count anyway. So my rules, my list, bitch. Oh, hey, double numbers.
Oh, that's nice.
So clever, so dapper, you better believe I made a mistake. Howdy-ho! So I might as well say this now, because I know somebody is going to try to hit me with that, oh god, okay, anyways, so here, Your Honor, I present some random bullshit. So I have been referencing the deleted scenes a lot in this video, and if you know something about the deleted scenes, you know that there was one, presumably during Cindy's party, way later in the film, spoilers by the way, where Gail was hooking up a bug camera to spy on the party, similar to the real Gail in Scream. However, you may have noticed that, Kenny over here is, at least he's alive, so there's that. But I'm still not going to exclude him from the marks, because, well, this is more of a me thing, to be honest. But unless stated otherwise by the directors, and I'm assuming the Wayans brothers didn't confirm this because they don't give a fuck, I do not count deleted scenes as canon, unless stated otherwise. But if not, I do not count them as actually a part of the story, because, well, they were deleted. So Kenny is still on the marks, and I won't be including this random chick who dies due to Ghostface while Shorty's watching her die thinking it's a horror movie. Well, funny, it doesn't count, because, well, it got cut. Now, if you had canon deleted scenes as canon, then that's fine. But again, like I stated, my video, my rules. So sorry, Kenny, and thank God for that random chick. Anyways, back to the video, and apologies for the way I sounded, because May really messes with me, and So Gail gets her final scene in the film, parodying Heather's apology scene from Blair Witch. However, this time she apologizes to Kenny's family, which is ironic she would do that since she was treating him so poorly. And also, ew! What the fuck? Who did the snot effect? Says this can't be practical, right? Who knows? And honestly, I don't really want to know if I'm gonna be honest. So we finally get to our only scene parodying Scream 2, that being the opening to that film. But instead of watching Stab, Ray and Brenda are watching Shakespeare in Love. Ray goes to the bathroom as we get a gag out of a David Zucker movie, and Ray, okay, what the fuck is this?
You're pushing your luck, Scoob! I'm gonna be honest, while I think of the jokes with Ray can be funny, the fact it's literally the only joke they do with him can get a little tiring. I mean, I get it, it was a 2000s era raunchy film, but still, they could have done something a little more to do. But whatever, we go back to Brenda in the movie theater. Oh yeah, before I forget, in this parody trailer for Aspen 2, we actually get to see the third Wayne brother, Kevin Ivan Wayne's cameoing here, which honestly is pretty sweet. Even if he is, you know, betraying the slave here, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. To be honest, I don't really find Brenda's over-the-top reactions all that funny, with everyone telling her to shut up and she keeps doing it. I mean, sure, I understand why people can find this funny. It might be relatable to them when they go to a movie theater, but to be honest with you, every movie theater I went into, I never had a bad experience in them. Next thing you know, I'm gonna jinx myself when I decide to go see FNAF 2 in theaters. I was gonna say Scream 7, because that would make a little more sense, you know, with the whole video topic, but, that film is going under. I know Brenda has some iconic lines here, like, I got you on camera, but though I can't relate to her when she busts out her phone and starts talking. Not the same, but I remember my dad doing this when we went into a theater a couple of times, and he checks his phone for, like, notifications, and that shit was like a flashbang. It was so distracting. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Dad! And now remember to get that Kane plush for me for Christmas. Okay, please, thank you, I love you. But Ghostface sits next to Brenda unknowingly, a la Scream 2, as he's about to go for the kill with that's not a $120. What the fuck kind of knife is that? Brenda does the worst mistake possible and spoils the movie, prompting this nerd guy to stab her with Ghosty's knife. And yeah, I know I complained about the setup being not all that funny, but the payoff with all the movie theater goers stabbing Brenda, even the old lady going, you know, your ass is grass, it's really funny. And also it builds up even further to being even more funny when Brenda steps out of the aisle and she goes down the hallway and proceeds to get her shit rocked by other moviegoers out of revenge for other movies she has ruined, and then getting on stage to scream like Jada Pinkett Smith's character like in Scream 2, and the moviegoers cheer on as Ghostface the whole time is just sitting back drinking a pop. It's hilarious! There's a reason why the scene is so iconic, and well yeah, the setup was slow, it all pays off at the end. There's one thing the world can agree on, and that's to never interrupt or spoil movies, and Brenda got the full wrath of that. So we finally get to the setting of the film's big climax, figuratively and literally, as instead of Stu's house, it's Cindy's, as she begs other people not to wreck her shit. This is why you don't get Shorty to announce things, Sind. Eventually some chick asks where Cindy's beer is, who actually was in a deleted scene with Shorty explaining the rules of the horror movie. Now I'm assuming originally this would have mean Shorty would have been upstairs with all the other party goers, but this was gutted in favor of him being downstairs with his other friends. Which makes me realize something, first of all that, but also make me realize, does Shorty live with Sydney, like, down in the basement, which is never explained, but to be honest, wouldn't you want a Shorty morality pet in your basement? Because I know I would, or I guess Biznick would have one. God, fuck you, Biznick! Eventually, Garage Victim, as they're called in the credits, goes to, where do you think? Guess what, viewer? I just been horsing around this entire video. What? What the fuck? Oh yeah, and the killer's here, which prompts Garage Victim to say,
Please, I'm just a day player.
So, you might be scratching your head, maybe not, wondering what a day player is. Well, basically, a day player in film is basically someone who does have speaking lines, but they're not there for very long. They're only there for a day, hence the name day player. So basically, they are higher than an extra, but lower than a fertitary character. Which basically means, bitch is gonna die tonight! Get a quick chase of Ghostface getting good jukes in, even though he got a beer bottle thrown at him, and eventually Garage Victim goes into the doggy door, which makes me realize that, does Stu have pets in his house? We never see one, so why would he— Who cares, man? It was there for a sick-ass kill! Now, yes, I might as well say this. It does kind of suck that the most infamous death in the OG Scream, this time around, is done by a literal day player, because our Tatum Riley stand-in already died. However, this does lead into an amazing death. As Garage Victim tries to crawl away, Ghostface opens the door. However, unlike the OG, where Tatum gets crushed by the door, this time around, due to the victim being, you know, fat, Ew! The garage starts to spark and shake as Ghosty dips, which leads to the roof completely collapsing and killing her. God damn! I love how this completely subverts your expectations. Like, you expect her to get crushed up here, but nah, she gets crushed down here. And not only that, everything gets crushed. Assuming the way the set was designed was simply using hatchets, and especially a dummy for the final crush. Also, props to the actress Marissa Jared Winker for getting her all here, even if it was a one-scene wonder. We then cut to Cindy finally getting Bobby what he always wanted, a little bump bump. Also, apparently that line was actually in the original stream, but was scrapped in favor of would you like a little raw footage, which, coincidence? I think it's not. It's totally not. It's not at all. It can't be, right? Finally get to the sex scene! To do the sex! Because I'm having sex with everyone! I had a good chuckle over that one, Busy. I'm going after you. And well, yes, I'm not that huge of a fan of a ton of sexual humor. I have to admit there are some funny moments here.
What's my name, Bobby?
What?
Did she roar like that, bro? But also, Bobby finally gets his fucking gusher of a release, which I know it's fake, but I don't think I'm allowed to show it on YouTube, so I'll just like reenacting here. It's like, oh shit! She's like on the fucking ceiling. Oh, how can I forget these two important things? One being in the beginning, Bobby just shatters the fourth wall out of nowhere. Okay, bro. And two, we cut between these scenes and scenes with our boy Shorty, who first has this line.
I see dead people.
That line is actually a reference to The Sixth Sense. However, unlike that kid who had like powers or something, I don't know, I never watched the movie. This time around, however, Shorty just has some rock hard shit. However, it runs into a problem. They have no more paper. What can they use to make a bong out of now? Honestly, I don't know if that's possible, but hey, if you're Stonehead, you could probably make a bong out of anything. Either those fish are dead or stone out of their mind. However, it's not all fun and games because BAM! Ghostface appears. However, unlike the other times we see him, he's not only here for the killing, but the smoking.
This is some good shit.
Oh yes, while the sex scene with Sydney and Bobby does have some good jokes, we all know the Shorty and Stone Ghostface scenes are way more iconic. We even get a unique Stone Ghostface mask, which is really funny looking. I just love the idea that his mask can just change expressions out of nowhere. It's great. So them just like calling a random lady and just dropping Ghostface lines like, what's your favorite scary movie? I'm gonna gut you like a fish. And also doing the iconic melody from Friday the 13th. While just giggling like mad. Sure, it's a pretty funny scene on its own, but the fact we got the literal killer doing all this fucking giggling shit is it's really funny, okay? Also go into a rapping bit after a while, with the dude with the bucket hat going first. Who even wears those? Like, what? Till Ghostface takes a turn, dropping the illest rhymes anyone has ever heard. Heh.
I'm gonna slash and gash, cut another hole in your ass. I spill blood on the walls and play tennis with your balls. If the phone rings, don't answer that call. Gonna slit your throat, fuck you like a goat, peel your foreskin off and make a winter coat. Peace.
Not only do I like that the rhymes are actually fucking sick, like Ghostface is just dropping fire bars here. Not only do I like how he busts both his weapons out to just swing around and stuff, but I also like how he actually doesn't kill Shorty here, because even a killer can agree Shorty's a national treasure. Instead, they just hug it out, which is really sweet. But the other people, yeah, that rap just led them to the marks. We have 5 plus a name one named Dookie, which, bro, you got a character named Doofy, and you thought that was enough. Nah, we got someone named Shit. But as Bobby and Sydney finished their happy time, with Sydney mentioning that it'd be cliche if he turned out to be the killer, which, yeah, but actually no. The killer pops up then, stabbing Bobby in the gut multiple times. However, I won't add this one to the marks, because you'll see why in a bit. I wonder why I won't add it to the marks. Ghostface trips somehow, my god, as Sydney does the reasonable thing, unlike Drew, and grabs a gun. But it's okay, as it's just Bobby. Yes, unfortunately we don't get our big chase scene between Sydney and Ghostface. However, that's okay, because it does get replaced with something else a little later. As Bobby and Sydney try to leave, Shorty runs out of the basement, as he explains.
Killer in the house. There's ass, blood, and guts everywhere. Someone done going crazy, son.
Which, if you know Scream's plot, you should know what happens next. As Bobby turns around, stating we all go a little crazy sometimes, Bobby blasts a shot in the shorty. I like the fact that he actually, like, scratches his head with the gun like Billy. Bobby also tries doing, like, a Kubrick stare here, but he just looks like an angry chameleon, just, like, fucking... like, he looks stoned out of his mind. Like, what the f— By the way, after taking one last hit through his lungs, Shorty goes out doing what he loves. Let's take a moment of silence to contribute our good pal, the brother that we lost, Shorty Meeks. Okay, yes, I know he doesn't actually, he comes back in the sequel, but it's still really sad because bro didn't fucking deserve that. Also, the death outside of the whole him hitting one last hit is played pretty straight. It sucks any of the real comedy out of the movie, at least for a little bit. But we will miss you, at least for a bit, Mr. Meeks. Anyways, Bobby reveals to us that he was faking it, but instead of corn syrup, it was
Ketchup. Just like my mom puts on her spaghetti, babe.
Yeah, you are a psychopath. Who the fuck puts ketchup on spaghetti? Sydney tries to run, which only leads to a Ray! Yeah, Ray is still alive, but I'll still put his death on the marks, because not only did I say one of the rules is it had to look lethal, which Ray was very much, also TV Tropes does state that Ray did die in the bathroom scene, so you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna include it anyways, fight me. We get our mega twist. Bobby and Ray were the killers? Oh, the Billy Loomis and Stu Mocker stand-in are the Ghostface killers? What? Okay, I was kind of making an ass out of myself, because there's another mega plot twist. They kind of are the killers, not really? Apparently, according to Bobby and Ray, they're actually not the real killers. Because you see, not only have they been using a knife, while the actual Ghostface killer has been seen to also use a hook, in fact, mainly use a hook, they also literally state themselves they plan on copycatting the Ghostface killer. But why, as Sydney states? Why?
Why?
You hear that, Ray? At least you want some motive. Does Scream have a plot?
No. Fucking mean no. It had a pretty simple plot. Dude got pissed and wanted revenge because of his parents' problems, and another dude was peer pressured into it, and also because he fucking loved to do it. Fuck you mean no? They also mentioned last summer, and even mentioned the sequels by, mentioning a certain character.
What about the sequel? Huh? What the hell is with that fat white Jamaican?
Oh, I want to kill that motherfucker.
Man.
It's bad casting, Bobby.
Bitch, if you don't know who they're referring to, they're actually referring to the character of Titus Telesco, who was played by none other than Jack Black. Yeah, the Jack Black, which is really funny in hindsight because, he would later go on to play the Dragon Warrior, Bowser, and Steve. But you might be wondering, what is Bobby's motives? Well, he only plans on actually killing Sydney. Shorty was by accident and wasn't planned. You sack of shit! You piece of sodium trash! 2,000 years of constant human evolution degrading useless fuck! But of course that raises a lot of questions. That being, when the killer is on screen, who is he? Bobby, Ray, or the third person? Obviously, by what Bobby said, the scenes without Sydney where the killer appeared can't be those two, since that doesn't work. But what about the other times we see him? In my opinion, I feel like the killer has not been Bobby and Ray in any of the scenes except for one. That being Bobby faking his death here. I mean, who really knows? There's the who killed who in Scary Movie, Zach Cherry! But Bobby's true motives are actually 10 times more simple. No sex. Yep, that's what drove him mad, which, damn, he literally is one of those crazy incels. And because of no sex from Sydney, it drove him into being gay for Ray. I really hate how being gay for Ray and gay is Ray. I really hate how gay for Ray and Ray is gay. Like, it rolls off the tongue really well. Like, I'm gonna fucking accidentally drop something. Also, Shawn Wayne really tries to start hamming it up to match Lillard, which you tried to, but you can't match the GOAT, man. He was Shaggy, for God's sakes. Well, okay, I know he wasn't Shaggy yet, but we were gonna get there. Completely off topic, though. Fuck you, Looney Tunes back in action. We're dissing on Matthew Lillard in that film. Fuck you! Ray also reveals to Sydney that Sydney's dad was captured. But unlike the original where Billy and Stu are gonna frame him, even something Sydney mentions, Ray just says,
Just having a little bit of fun with old daddy-o.
Okay, am I the only one who thinks that, like, the gay jokes in this movie are getting, like, worse and worse as time goes on? Like, they were funny at, like, the start of the movie, but they've just been getting worse and worse. Like, what is going on? Maybe it's that they're just running their course, man. I don't know. But luckily, we do get an actually pretty funny scene trying to recreate the stabbing scene with Billy and Stu in the original Scream, where Bobby keeps chickening out before Ray finally lands the hit. Sidney says TV shows have made them psychos, to which Ray actually takes a Billy line, ironically enough, stating TV shows don't make psychos, canceling them do. Which, you know, I can't blame him. I just watched Ash vs. Evil Dead for the first time, and I just found out they also canceled it. Like, what the fuck? I know it was like 10 years ago, but what the fuck? Ray, however, this time around, gets mad about the Wayans brothers being canceled without getting a series finale, which, oh gee, I wonder what the Wayans brothers, I wonder what that show, I wonder. Yeah, self-projecting much, aren't you, bro? Jesus. As Ray makes Bobby into a pincushion, Bobby actually takes a Stu line here.
I'm feeling woozy here. I'm feeling woozy here.
As Bobby is ready to stab Ray, Ray prompts that nobody's gonna stab him. You can see right here, this relationship would not work. I mean, first, Ray doesn't admit that he's gay, even though he obviously is, and doesn't give the knife to Bobby. Like, think about it. At least Billy gave Stu the knife. It shows right away that that would have been a healthy, working relationship.
You gotta have a sequel. Movies make psychos more creative. Find it, you dipshit. Get up. I can't, Billy. Oh, you cut me too deep.
Boy.
Fuck. Fucking hit me with a phone, Dad.
Bobby doesn't have to worry because Ghostface rams the hook through Ray's back, ending their wimpy reign of terror. Honestly though, I love the little popping sound that happens as the killer takes the hook out. Also, he even gets to say the iconic line.
Surprise, Cindy.
But his hook suddenly doesn't have blood on it? Jeez, man, you should have done the wipe, you know? That's how the real Ghostface gets past inconsistencies. Wait. Why does the knife have blood on it? Well, was it because of the junkies or was it because of Bobby? But that's not clearly how to be fake because no way Ghostface would have killed Bobby, like spared him or whatever. But like clearly it can't be Ray because Ray doesn't give a fuck about Bobby. So like, he couldn't teleport because it goes, Ika boga, Ika boga, Ika boga. Oh shit! I just remembered. This is a parody comedy. So who gives a fuck? As we get to our big true climax of Sidney versus Ghosty. As Ghostface goes for a charging strike, Sidney does this. Yeah, so the final fight scene between these two dissolves basically into a Matrix parody, which, yeah, at this point is not parodying horror anymore, and you could say it's really outdated, but you know what? I don't care. The music is really bombastic and fun. The prop destroying also is really fun too. Reminds you a lot of the OG Scream. The camera angles sure are basically just Matrix, but are also really impressive looking, except for this really shit green screen effect. But I love the little gag of Sidney doing this Irish shuffle as Ghostface briefly joins in. It's oddly wholesome, and Ghostface doing the bullet time dodge only for his back to be broken. It's sure a pretty generic joke, but the fact it's Ghostface just makes it 10 times better. But after one swift kick causing Ghostface to go for a window, damn! Sidney frees her dad, and when the cops arrive, I love they did a little brick joke of him being a drug dealer.
The guy that murdered all my friends!
And the sick bastard planted drugs all in the house there, all over the place.
But the situation seems a little bleak, as Ghostface is still technically on the run. So Sidney goes to the police station, with the sheriff pulling out the necessities. And Doofy so kindly gives Sid a coffee before saying goodbye for the rest of the movie. We'll miss you, you magnificent Sidney thinks it was actually the fisherman they killed last Halloween, looking for revenge, which honestly would have been a pretty cool way to truly compromise both characters. But no, David Keegan is apparently dead, because he wasn't funny enough, I don't know. So who could it be? Now, apparently originally, Ghostface would have actually been the fourth Wayne brother. Yeah, there's a fourth one, Damon Wayne, who I guess would have been jealous about the fact he didn't appear in the film like his other brothers. Great, that would have been a shock, but not really that funny of an asshole. And besides, thanks to scheduling conflicts, we get by far the much better ending that'll go down in cinematic history. The sheriff explains the killer had to know about the incident, as well as get around with complete ease and nobody suspecting him. And right then and there, Sidney's neurons finally fire up, as it's revealed to us that the killer was...
She used to babysit my brother, Doofy. He had the biggest crush on her.
It's me, Sin. Night, Sin.
Doofy!
Shithead?
As the sheriff and Cindy try to find Doofy, we get a shot of Doofy walking on the street as his crippled walk slowly becomes normal, revealing like a sledgehammer that not only was he the killer, not only was he, I guess, dating Gail the whole time too, which looks like they have a healthier relationship than the real Dewey and Gail, but he was faking his disability the whole time. I love this ending so much! Doofy being the killer works on so many layers, because there's a reason why I don't find him all that offensive, because not only is he funny, but also it was a sham, a ruse, it was a lie, it was a deception, but it works on so many layers, like I stated, because it's also crazy how this reveal is supposed to be a parody on the final scene of this film called The Unusual Suspect. However, I never seen that film, but just because I haven't doesn't mean I don't understand what's going on here, and that's how you should do parodies. I also love how this isn't a subversion asshole for the sake of a joke. In the film itself, there are actual hints on Doofy being the killer, like in a certain other film. Whoa! Like, for example, Buffy stated that Doofy used to be babysitted by Drew Becker, and Doofy had a crush on her. Not only is this shown during the reveal scene, but also should be a good hint if you did watch Stream. Also, throughout, like, the entire movie, Doofy's just hitting a fucking Kubrick stare, like, doing some of this, like, it should be kind of obvious that the wacky character, it might be a little suspicious if he's doing this all the time. It's like the equivalent of those fucking stickers that pop up when Billy shows up at Stream, which... Those are so fucking silly, I love those. There's also very subtle ones, like how Gail is trying to interview Cindy, she mentions the killer, where you can see Doofy's name. There's also the smell my finger bit, where when Doofy tells the officers to smell his finger, it looks a lot more like he knows what he's actually doing and genuinely fucking with them than being innocently stupid. And even some of the kills in the movies, like Buffy's death, it's way more graphic compared to the others, possibly showing built-up rage. And the most telling sign is when the killer calls Cindy after Bobby gets arrested, and tells her it's not Bobby. Doofy's mom calls for him to get to the phone, and the killer says, "No, it isn't me."
The wrong guy.
No!
Yep,
Doofy?
it's not Bobby. No.
Who is this?
Gotcha, bitch! Besides, the music choice here, Too Cool for School, done by Fountain of Wayne,
is
honestly an amazing song choice and kicks ass! Too bad, I can't play here because of copyright, but look it up! I told you a song name, you damn hippie! Dude, I was initially gonna have, like, the Dead by Daylight lobby with Ghostface playing in the background just because I wanted something on the laptop, but, it's still initializing shaders after, like, 15 minutes. What the fuck? I don't have him on, like, max fucking settings. How many goddamn shaders are in this fucking game that they had to initialize? Like, it's so, like, god damn it, 9.6.2. Alright, bro, when the fuck is Jack Torrance gonna get in there? That's unrelated. Laza! So you know that in the beginning of the video, I was very confused on who played and voiced Ghostface? Well, I did know! It was all a ruse the entire time! Kind of! When I was doing voiceover for this video, God decided to recommend me a random YouTube video uploaded by Crazy Dog 500, where he was looking at a bunch of the original props made for Scary Movie. And guess who was with him the whole time? That's right, motherfucking Dave! Not David, Dave. I accidentally misbotched his name in the, earlier in the review. Fucking fake. So Dave, aka Doofy, aka Ghostface, while not 100% confirming it, and I still can't really find any real concrete info about it, does sort of allude to the fact that he did play Ghostface. I mean, he explains that in certain scenes, like the Laz Up scene, he was there actually playing the character. Now granted, in some more complicated scenes, like the piano one, they did get a stuntman, but for all intents and purposes, Dave played Ghostface. So hey, if you got that going for you, Scary Movie, unlike the other Scream films where they only get Ghostface to be played by a stuntman, fucking losers. But what about the voice, since that was something I was stumped about while making this review? Well, I know there is a 20-year difference between this video and the original film. Dave's normal way of talking does sound very similar to Ghostface's voice in the film. I mean, when he literally reenacts scenes like the "What's up" scene, it sounds almost one-to-one to Ghostface's version of it.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
I mean, the vocal fry is like down to a T here, so you know what? Screw it. Dave not only played Doofy, but he played Ghostface. I mean, no shit, but like, you know what I mean? Like, Dave played Ghostface and Doofy. Like, no, the actor played, not the character. Now, I actually got to know more about this film's production, not only thanks to this video, but also a Comic-Con interview video I got recommended that had Bobby and Greg's actor, as well as Dave himself showing up, answering questions about the film's production. You know, because apparently I got this shit recommended to me way after the fact I finally, you know, put blood, sweat, and tears into making this video, you know? I finally got, you know, concrete info, but for some reason, it was recommended to me when I was like 90% done with it, so you should be glad I'm adding it anyways in post-production. So in the Crazy Dog video, he did say stuff like in the piano scene, the piano itself was actually a real piano, albeit it had a tripwire and the piano was hollowed out, so, you know, in case the dude actually got ran over, he'd be fine. Also, the mask Ghostface wears in the movie was actually apparently a heavily modified Scream 2 mask, albeit it had custom mold all over it, and also had some parts hollowed out so Dave can actually talk through the mask. So that does answer my question I had way early in the video. Like, you know how I said Fun World made the Scary Movie mask? Well, no, they didn't make the original Scary Movie mask. I mean, technically they did, because they used the Scream 2 mask as a base, but you know what I mean, like the original custom molds, they made themselves, not Fun World. That's why I added the lie thing there, haha. Also, thanks to the Comic-Con interview video uploaded by Fandom Spotlight, Marlon Wayne was apparently a crop duster. That is very vital information. Do you not realize that? It's like, I needed to know that. Also, when the film crew was moving to different locations via a ferry boat, Dave decided to stay in the Doofy character the entire time. He apparently even wore a life preserve vest, and this caused the boat crew to genuinely think Dave had special needs, which then led to him being shoved in the cockpit for the whole hour-long ride. And Dave had to stay in the Doofy character that whole hour so he didn't upset the boat crew. That is genuinely really fucking funny. And see, this is what I want to know about this film. The important and stupid shit. That's what we go for these types of videos. And before you all say, Isaac, why did you decide to do this post-editing thing here and not film in the original location and have the Ghostface costume on and just reshot it in between the old footage? Well, not only will I think this kind of ruin the twist, because, you know, the whole twist of the film is that Doofy was the killer the whole time, and if I mentioned it way earlier in the film, then, you know, it would have basically spoiled that. But also, you know, be glad I did talk about this, because I couldn't, but I did it anyways. I had to reshoot it all months before I did it. Fucking Scary Movie 6 is apparently coming out. That's a real fucking film now. I had to reshoot all this, like how they had to reshoot the Wise Up scene months after they filmed everything else. That's a real thing Dave mentioned in the Crazy Dog video, FYI. Okay, but yeah, anyways, back. Finally fucking finish this video, goddamn! As Doofy throws the bag overhead as they drive off, revealing, oh no, shocker, as Sydney roars a big no! Impressed that Anna Thurston could hold that long enough, and then BAM! Jeez! And since other characters come back in the sequel, you know what? I'll just count this one as a death, why not? We get a mid-credit scene showing Shorty filming a video like Randy from Scream 3, surprisingly enough, our only reference to it. However, unlike Randy telling Sydney and the crew about the rules of a trilogy, this time around Shorty gives us some good advice on
Snatch and run! Come back here, you motherfucker!
Thanks, Shorty. I will be doing that. If I don't come back looking like, you know, Swiss cheese, and you know it worked. And then we get a post-credit scene, which I'm shocked this actually exists, with Doofy breaking up with his vacuum, which makes me think, did he know Gale before or during the events of this movie? That looks like it hurts.
And then during the script, like, I'm supposed to, like, say, oh, actually, it's kind of good. I mean, wait a minute, you know, haha, I want a vacuum to suck me off. But, like, you remember that stunt I pulled, with the vacuum earlier? No, actually, that does hurt like a bitch. So don't actually do that. I did it for the video. I just realized the way that sounded. No. Oh, fuck. Oh, did the parody get more kills than the original? Well, there's only one way to find out. But I have to go shopping for meat.
Hello?
Hello?
Who is this?
Who is this?
Are you just gonna mock me?
Wait, you gonna smack me? I got a special question for you.
Oh, really? What?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Okay, really cute. I know what you're trying to do. I'm hanging up now.
If you hang up, I'll finally get to see what your insides look like.
Who are you?
Just an old friend. So tell me, what's your favorite scary movie?
Scream?
What? No! I'm talking about the Scary Movie series!
Oh my god, I hate that series. It's just a lame parody slap that are supposed to be funny because, wow, we got Jigsaw and we beat him up. Oh, fuck off.
But what about the first one? The one parodying your favorite horror film has the best version of Ghostface.
Especially that one. It was not funny in the slightest. It basically revolved around sex jokes half the time and it was so... I guess the word I'm looking for is try-hard at best.
Oh, you thought the film was so try-hard, huh? Well, I guess I can try just as hard as I cram my hook up your ass!
Oh, really now? How about you show up instead of hiding behind the phone like a fucking coward?
What's up?
What's that? Oh, shit!
Huh? What the fuck? Ah, crap, I tripped over garbage! Well, I guess this wasn't a funny little chase scene after all. No grandma, no weed.
Just you all alone, dying in the woods. Well, time to get to the tally! Hello?
Who's this?
I'm Isaac Cook. Who are you? You aren't my dad.
Let's just say a very popular person. I see you like to make videos, Isaac.
Oh yeah, it's my passion.
A passion that will slowly dim out like your life.
What?
Think about it, Isaac. You say you have so many creative thoughts, but you really don't. You just try and leech off your friends' content so people can see your unoriginal ideas. You copied Christmas Carol, you just took Ellis Mark's ranking format, and you even simply took the kill count.
Yeah, I took those ideas, but I made them unique, you know?
Unique? You just changed the name and fucking color! There's nothing special about you, Isaac. This ending of me showing up is basically the same as Scream 5's kill count, minus you actually getting Roger L. Jackson to voice me!
Wait, how do you know that? Oh, your whole thing is being meta.
Oh, you thought that was funny, huh? How about this? You whine and beg about making an animated show? Why don't you fucking do it, instead of jumping around on dull and rotten ideas after another that you gut in a second after you think of them? You never were funny, Isaac. You never were creative. And the format you love so much will be taken because I'm a machine. You're a leech and a rat to the YouTube landscape. And it's about time I drown you in the poisoning.
Okay, I see how it is, alright. If you believe all that you're saying, why don't you actually say that to my face instead of hiding behind a phone like a coward?
My pleasure. Feel that, Isaac? Do you feel your creativity leaking out?
We still gotta do the tallies.
Oh yeah, how can I forget? You want tallies? I'll happily oblige. 21 people got slaughtered in Scary Movie. 2 deaths even by the same person. That makes no sense, but logic is not this movie's cup of tea. In total, there's a much more blueberry-flavored pie chart, with 14 deaths for the male and 7 for the females. This blows the original Scream out of the ballpark, with only 7 in the original, and in fact the highest compared to all the Scream films. Yes, I work a lot faster and messier in a cartoon world filled with dumb people to skew. With a runtime of 84 minutes, Scary Movie gives us a kill on average every 4 minutes. Like how many stars on the chest it takes to kill you. I'll give the Platinum Buzzsaw Award to my sickest bar death. I was slashing and gashing so hard I got a 6-kill streak. This actually was a tough one to pick, considering the spectacular deaths in this film, like the garage one and the grandma one, but I can't deny my rapping skills were on point, as well as my dicing. Just make sure to hang up that call, or I'll spill blood on the wall and play tennis with your balls. Rusty Pardoy for lamest kill goes to Kenny. Who was that guy? Did I even kill him? I think I did. Who cares? And that's it. Scary Movie came out in 2000 and made $278 million back compared to its measly $19 million budget. Eventually the Wayne brothers would make a sequel a year later with Scary Movie 2 in 2001. However, I won't be looking at that one because, well... I gotta get out of here! This has been Ghostface on the Slaughter Marks.